Yo, people, welcome back to the YouTube channel. You already know what time it is. It's time for another episode of All You Can Eat Chelsea. Yes, you'll be saying, where the hell was this boy? Get your glazed glass over here, whatever someone said in the comments. Well, listen, double glazed glassing, actually. Listen, we was just waiting a little bit to see if we would get Younes in, just sneak him in, but he's going to be in about 5 minutes or so. Or maybe he'll jump in right now, but he'll be in 5 minutes max. So let's get into it. Miz, big up, bro. Welcome back. How are you doing? I saw a little Endrick. What's his name? Endrick. Little Endrick. You know what I'm saying? Little GCSE maths. You know what I'm saying? Little 16-year-old Chelsea trying to get transfer ban like a yeah. All right. What's going on with this?
Yeah, man. It's crazy times. Everyone's all excited about Endrick, and I feel like we should need to calm down, man. Let's focus on Newcastle. That's the big thing. This will be the 5th game without a victory if we don't win. How do you feel about that? That's the question. Forget about Endrick. Do you know what I mean? Which I'm sure we'll talk about a little bit. But besides that, bro, I mean, Matisse, obviously, we have a WhatsApp, you, me, and Younes together. We're in the WhatsApp. Yeah. It's been strange, man. And I've been talking a lot in the WhatsApp along with Younes. Obviously, you've been very days.
Yes.
It's been very strange, Matisse, man. I feel weird, bro. I feel, I don't know, depressed is a difficult word and a hard word, but yeah, I feel strange, man. Like I want us to get out of this mud that we're in at the moment. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah.
It's been a crazy couple of days. Not just for Chelsea, but just in general. I'm not going to lie. Or a week in the content community. Do you know what I mean? Just everywhere. It's been nuts. And then on top of that, you got Chelsea. And like you said, I've not spoken on Endrick at all. Because even
this is going to be a thing now. You're going to say Endrick. You're going to say Endrick.
I'm going to call him Endrick for now. The reason why I haven't spoken on him is because he's not coming. All right? Let's just keep it a buck, ladies and gentlemen. He's not fucking coming to Chelsea. All right? I need to make this very clear. Thiago Silva is apparently the guy that we're asking him to, we're asking Thiago Silva to be the middleman, to be the guy to convince him. And how old is Thiago Silva, everybody? Please.
38.
It's like Dora the Explorer. I want to get an answer from the chat. How old is Thiago Silva? Guys, anybody in the chat? Anybody? Yeah, you. Hey, Matthew. Yeah, Matthew. Yeah, what? Anybody? Dominic? Come on, you guys know the answer, man. Just give me the answer, man. Come on, don't be shy. Come on. How old is Thiago Silva, guys? Come on, man. Don't be silly. Oh, come on. There we go.
There you go.
38. There we go. See, you guys. This is why I love this show, because you guys know your shit. He's 38. Look, we've got some 23s in there. You wish he was 18. You wish he was 23. So what happens when poor Endrick comes in when he's 18 and Thiago Silva's retired? He looks around.
Thiago Silva will be 40.
He'll be 40, and he looks around and he says, "Yo, where's that brother that you guys told me that I need to meet? And I need to. Is he still here?"
He was meant to do my orientation. He was meant
to help me find a new home and a new language and whatnot. Where is he? And they're like, "Oh, he doesn't work here anymore. He's retired." Oh, cool. Oh, all right. That's fine. Obviously, this is all in Portuguese. Pabos Lawa, do you have any other Brazilians that could maybe help me settle in?
No, William's long gone.
Oh, we had William, and we had Ramirez, and we had David Luiz, and we had Felipe Luiz, and we had... We don't have any more Brazilians. No, you're the only one. Yeah. You're the only one. Jorginho is Italian, but yeah, he kind of counts.
Oh, yeah.
But he's probably leaving as well. His contract's not even renewed.
He's leaving. He's probably, let's be honest, Jorginho ain't staying for 2 years. Yeah. So.
And then you look at the weather and you think, oh, it's pissing outside. Yeah. Could have been in Madrid, where they have Rodrigo, where they have Vinicius, where they have Militao, where they have a better, let's just be real, they're just a bigger club as well. And they're just more set for the future than us with Tchouaméni, Camavinga, Valverde. It's
potentially they'll get a superstar manager after Ancelotti. Like they'll get a superstar manager
a Bellingham will come in. Like, let's be real, guys. Yeah, we cannot compete. Yeah, so that's why I'm not really talking about it, and it's not really gonna happen, to be honest. And I've seen Pulisic go to Barcelona's, training camp and with his dad, and go to Arsenal and go to Man United and go to every club in the world.
Mbappe, I think, was in Chelsea training ground as well.
Like, it's nice. It's nice to see you. It's nice to see you, shake hands, meet, whatever. But let's keep it $100, man. This shit ain't gonna fly. So yeah, that's why I haven't spoken about it. And why I'll tell you right now that ain't happening. That front three of Hendrick, yeah, Vinny and Rodrigo. That front three, that's devastating, and that's all Brazilian. That will be
devastating.
And they're all young.
Brazilian.
Yeah, and they're all young. Why would you not, like, if I was Hendrick, why the hell would I not go play with them, with those two? It doesn't make any sense. I'm gonna come here and play with Sterling and Pulisic and Mount and Gallagher.
I think the weather's really good at Real Madrid as well. And look, ladies and gentlemen,
come on, man, don't be silly.
God damn it! Like, it's Real Madrid, man. It's and we're not even the best Premier League team. Like, I could understand if we were the number one Premier League team. Like, I can understand if we were Man City level. Okay, superstar coming along. Yeah, of course, we're the real deal. But besides that, I don't want to take anything away from the people that are in live chat. Be excited. If that's what makes you excited, be excited. But I think the bigger concern is now. The bigger concern is we could potentially go 5 games without a win. How do you feel about that? Can you still celebrate the fact that, man, Matisse is going to make me say Hendrick as well. Can you still celebrate the fact that Endrick'S news is floating around, knowing the fact that we could potentially go 5 games without winning?
I think we got bigger fish to fry. I think we should focus on maybe seeing Amari Hutchinson a little bit more, because, to be honest, Miz, if we're gonna move on to important matters, not transfer ban activity. We actually was all right in midweek. I think we was good, and I
personally think we were as well.
Yeah, I mean, listen, Man City are always going to create chances. Mahrez, Grealish was really good. Grealish showed why a GA is not how you judge a player's performance in every
terrorized us.
You got to watch, because Grealish with 0 GA, that brother terrorized us. Facts. He literally destroyed us. He won fouls. He should have got a goal. He took a couple shots, won a couple free kicks. He was causing problems. We couldn't deal with him. But on top of that as well, I thought Lewis Hall was a really, really good positive to take away from
that. Standout player.
And you know what was great about Lewis Hall, Miz, is he missed a couple chances. It was on his right foot. I mean, he should have scored both of them, but it is what it is. It's not like anybody else can finish, as we know. I've been to open training sessions. We all know that these guys can't finish their dinner. Guys, it doesn't take a genius to work out that these guys, they don't finish any time of the day, any time of the week, anytime. You know what I mean? Doesn't matter if the clocks change back or daylight savings. It doesn't make a difference. These guys.
These are the senior players.
These are the senior players.
Lewis Hall is a kid, man.
Yes.
We're not going to sit here and bash a kid. Do you know what I mean?
Especially when we've seen everybody else finish just exactly like him. If anything, he's just taking after the senior players and trying to make sure he fits in, because these guys, they can't score to save their life, man. The finishing was atrocious, and they're just like this in training. I promise you, because I was there in open day training at Stamford Bridge. I watched the shooting drill, and I nearly fainted. It was sad. It was a sad. I was going home sad. How can I go home sad from a training exercise? It doesn't make any sense. I was going home sad from a training session because I just knew that, okay, so this is why we don't score any goals. When there's no defenders, when the balls are being laid off in front of them, when all you've got to do is literally just shoot past the goalkeeper.
Pick a spot and put it in.
And they're still missing. And it's like, how are you going to miss now? But then obviously when the game's going on, there's the actual pressure of the match, the defenders. Brother.
That's actually mad, Matisse. No way. Do you know what? We don't talk about this often enough. That's actually mad. I reckon there should be live training sessions telecasted always. I swear. We need to watch what these guys are doing. I swear we do.
But bro, I think there was a training session that was being streamed live on YouTube as well, maybe a few weeks ago or a month ago. and people were saying the same thing. These guys can't finish. Like, that is the big glaring issue, and it's not surprising that when they come into the match now, we see the same problems. But when you look at the team, who really is an out and out finisher? Probably outside of Aubameyang, nobody. Maybe you could say James, but I'm talking about attackers. You know what I mean? Like Sterling's shooting. Yeah, Sterling's shooting technique has always been very, hit and miss. More time.
I think Pulisic is a finisher.
Nah. Nope. Unless we're playing Crystal Palace, that ain't no finisher. But he's good with his left foot in the certain area where you can get the ball into the roof of the net. That part, that area.
Bro, it was mad how he missed that chance. I was fuming Matisse because it was Hakim Ziyech as well. I was, if you saw my watch along, Matisse, if you were there, I was only rooting for Hakim Ziyech in that entire watch along. I was just so excited about everything he was doing.
Yeah.
That miss from Christian Pulisic, Matisse, that's mad, bro. But have we not seen it before? We have.
Yeah, we have.
Brother Younes is amongst us.
Yes, lads.
Oh, there we go.
All good?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Hello, guys.
How's
it going?
You missed some serious banter already, bro. We were just talking about Hendrick and how he's come to.
Hendrick?
Yeah.
Larson?
Got more chance of getting Hendrick Larson, I'll tell you that.
Bro, I would take a prime Hendrick Larson in our team, bro. That guy was a player.
Mate, are you mad? Absolutely.
That guy was a player.
For those that don't remember Larson.
They don't. I'm pretty sure most of the live chat, the real ones, obviously the
The one's old enough.
The one's old enough. But Hendrick Larson,
Proper. Yeah, mad. But yeah, we were just talking about Endrick because I just as much as it's nice that we're showing him the training ground and Thiago Silva's there, I think Thiago Silva will be gone by the time he gets here, considering he's 16, and I think Real Madrid might have a better project. Yeah. I'm not gonna lie, they might just have a small advantage. They're just winning now, winning in the future. They're under 23s. If you were to lay it out on the pitch, it's pretty impressive. And they're a bigger club as well, and an easier transition for any South American to go to Spain than to come to the pissing down rain of England. There's not really much to say. London is really shit weather. So and
there's great history of like big Brazilian players in Real Madrid: Ronaldo, Roberto Carlos, Kaká. Like there's.
We have William.
Bro, you're rude towards William. Matisse. You're rude. I don't like it. William was good, man. Come on, give him his flowers. It was good enough.
No, we had some good Brazilians, man. Ramirez,
David
Luiz, Alex.
Yeah.
We're on the same wavelength, Miz. So yeah. But you know what, Endrick, I honestly think he has better scope as a 16-year-old to make it into the first team over at Madrid than he would at Chelsea. But what Chelsea can offer for someone's career, I feel like is more than what you get at Madrid. Premier League football, if you do make it, you're a superstar. Like, I just feel like it's mad. And then even later on, the chances are you'll probably end up at Madrid anyway. So
I'd just start at Madrid and end up Madrid.
I'd start at Madrid. Serious talk, like honestly, big man thing talk. Like coming to Chelsea football, I don't know Graham Potter's mindset as yet. It's early days. Does he start for us when he's 18 immediately for Chelsea Football Club? I don't know.
Is Potter still here?
Is Potter still here? That's a huge question. Is Potter still going to be here? 2 years is a long time at Chelsea Football Club, by the way. The other thing is we need to have other players around Endrick to make sure he blossoms. Endrick ain't doing all by himself. If Sterling is still there in 2 years' time and XYZ, Sterling isn't going like that. Sterling is probably like this, and maybe slowly he might go like that. You need to bring in Nkunku, Leao, and all of those other players. Then you can have an Endrick to
The thing is, though, is that Real Madrid already have these players there ready. They got Rodrigo there, Vinicius there, Valverde there, Tchouaméni there, Camavinga. So it's literally just icing on top of the cake.
That's an example. Camavinga.
And by the way, his starting place is like very clear because Benzema's getting older. In comes Endrick. And for us, it's like, of course, he would start over Broja, you would assume, but Broja, then what happens with him? And so it's just, so it's just more confusing. But back to current important affairs that will actually take place, which is Newcastle away. Wow, what a fixture this is, boys. I mean, we couldn't be playing them at the worst time. I remember we always used to say every season, even when we were playing good, we were like, oh, that's going to be a tough game, Newcastle. We're not good there. Now we're playing Newcastle in their best form I've ever seen and our worst form right now. And they're just, even with injuries, St. Maximum's out, Isaac's out. They've got, Wilson in form. Almiron is in form.
Wilson might not make it, just to let you know, but there's a chance he could. I don't know.
Chris Wood it is then.
But yeah, Almiron's on mad form.
Almiron's on serious form. Cucurella's going to have a serious match. And I think he was a lot better, to be fair, against Man City. Again, there's a lot of positives. I thought Cucurella was better. Won all of his ground deals, I think. And then he also made a massive tackle as well to stop a goal.
Saved Kovacic. Remember, there was a build-up where Kovacic lost the ball and saved his backside big time.
Kovacic is still up and down, maybe because of that injury he's carrying. I thought Ruben, he was, again, overhit that pass to Ziyech where he had to do a whole FIFA trick to get round the defender.
I don't think Ruben was good, man.
I don't know how he managed that. No. But I thought Ziyech was good, miss.
Come on, bro. Oh, baby. Yes.
I'm not going to lie. I said it like as the game was going on. I was like,
Ziyech, just say it.
Ziyech is getting better in this match. And Ziyech is creating two clear-cut chances for Lewis Hall and Pulisic. Ziyech has done he's done a skill move now to entertain me that I can't even do on FIFA. He's had a couple shots. He's creating opportunities. He's playing well.
And seems like he's good mates with Younes' dad. So another tick over there. For me, I just love this guy even more.
They had a moment. Honestly, I'm just like, I'll just leave you guys to it.
Oh really? What happened? They just had a big long convo.
They don't know because obviously, my dad congratulated him about the World Cup. Obviously, he's going to the World Cup. If the previous Morocco manager wasn't there, then no. If the previous manager was there, he wouldn't have gone. He wouldn't have been in the squad. He basically retired from international football. So he had a word, and he told him. He looked at him and he went, "Now you're going to the World Cup, innit?" And he looked at my dad and went, like he's so gassed. Like before I wasn't going, now I'm going. And then they said some bits in Arabic because Morocco, Algeria, and all that. And then took some pictures, and he was quite bubbly. Honestly, he was quite cheeky. He's a cheeky guy.
Yeah.
So yeah.
We did a petition. We did a petition to get rid of that Moroccan manager, so that Ziyech comes in, man. So
it's worked because he's going. So
I'm so excited. I follow Germany obviously in the World Cup, but I'm very excited to watch Hakim Ziyech, Morocco. I'm following them. Come on, bro.
No. I hope they do well. I really hope they do well. They can. We'll see what happens though.
Good team, bro. It's a good team, Morocco.
Yeah. And on top of Ziyech playing well, I thought Pulisic, even though he was frustrating, he was good. He was good. Like he was creating, he was dribbling past players. He was doing.
He was active.
Yeah, he was active. Yeah. He was switched on more than Sterling has been. More than Mason was for me against Arsenal as well. More than Aubameyang was against Arsenal. So, but does that mean that these guys? I mean, for me, I think Pulisic definitely should be starting against Newcastle because I think he's had more games where he's shown signs of, listen, come on now, give me the game, give me the start. Ziyech has had the one game. Do you just throw Ziyech based on that one game? I'm not sure.
What's there to lose though, Matisse? What's there to lose? Like, who would you go with? The regular Mount, Sterling, Oba, like
Sterling doesn't play for me. Aubameyang doesn't play for me. It would only be, you could say maybe you could make a case for playing Gallagher at right side, whipping the crosses, and I don't know. But do we really need to put someone defensively minded on that side? Who's the left back for Newcastle? It's not really. Was it Target?
Target?
I think it's Target.
Yeah,
Target?
I mean, come on now. Shouldn't really have to do that. Do you know what I mean? So, I don't know, man. It's going to be very interesting. But something tells me there are some of those key players that I'm not really feeling right now are going to come back in. And also, like we said with Lewis Hall,
I think they will. Yeah.
He didn't he didn't look. See, look, Younes has went to the training ground, so he knows a little.
I bet no. You know what? I want to say one thing. Yeah, I want to say one thing.
Instead of Younes talks, it's going to be Younes TK.
Before it would have been easy to like just go, I think this player needs to play, I think that player needs to play. Honestly, right now, the issue that I know that we all have and we've seen game after game is we don't take our chances.
Yeah.
We don't shoot. Or what we do, we don't know how to. Honestly, it applies to basically any player that we think should play.
Yeah.
So it's difficult to then at the end result. You can, for example, Pulisic last game against Man City, as we were saying, active, right? But his finishing was tragic. Do you know what I mean? It's always the same issue. Can do loads of good things, and when it comes to when it matters most, it's not compensated. So yeah,
you're right. Like for all of the great dribbling and all of the great skill, we got the same end result, which was no goals. So what difference does it make? It's a fair point.
Do you know what? I think it will be, and this is the thing, man. Like I don't know. Some people might say, but Miz, Potter needs to continue with the same people to try and build some chemistry. I get that, but we need a result before we go to the World Cup. Like we could potentially be, someone was saying to me, if we either lose or draw, we could potentially be like 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, something around there. Is that a good situation to go with before the World Cup? Like the last match before the World Cup, that leaves us a lot of work to do post World Cup, which we have to anyway in January. So why not change it around a little bit, man? Why not give the players that showed some sort of attacking threat? I would throw a Lewis Hall. Like if we're going with the back three, I would throw a Lewis Hall in the left wing back spot. Like he gave us some attacking threat. How many players have been giving us attacking threat in recent times? We could not see any goals against. There was not a moment that I felt that we were going to score against Arsenal. There was probably also the same feeling against Brighton most of the times. So why not change it up, man? Like give Pulisic definitely an opportunity over Sterling. Throw in Ziyech as well. Like, I don't know. I highly doubt he's going to do it. I feel like Potter's just going to go with the normal. Mount definitely will start. Sterling will start. Alba will start. And the rest will sort of pick itself after that.
And Lewis Hall was so good on the ball. Like, just so composed, so calm. I genuinely believe that this kid should be getting more opportunities. Like I didn't, outside of the finishing, which really, I don't really even need to see him in those positions too much anyway. But he's a midfielder. He was good.
He was class.
Very good. Yeah,
he should be contemplated for starting. One thing I do want to say, I think it's because he played 90 minutes. He wasn't there yesterday, so
I was just going to say that.
I was gutted. I wanted to see him. I wanted to see him and talk to him. He wasn't there at all. Him, the injured lot, all the injured lot basically weren't there, and Broja wasn't there either. So I don't know if it's because they played near enough the whole game, maybe just inside getting recovery or whatnot. I don't know, but Lewis Hall's put a statement on that he can play, he can start. I trust him honestly, because in terms of what he actually brings, his versatility, his unpredictability. We need players that are going to be unpredictable and not just do the basics and not just, do things that you can see coming, that you can read. That seems to be Chelsea's problem, is that whenever we're with the ball, you kind of just know where we're going. Lewis Hall brought a sense of, I'm able to drive the ball in between 2 or 3 if I have to. If I'm in a situation, I'll get myself out and then I'll link someone that no one's got their eye on. Something like that. Lewis Hall done that really, really well. It's a shame Hutchinson didn't get a game against Man City. I would have wanted to see him.
Makes no
sense.
He
could have added a question onto what we're going to do against Newcastle, because if he played and impressed, it would be another dilemma. It'd be another thing of, can we trust him too? As I've said though, as Miz has said, I think we're going to see something quite common. What I want to say in terms of Newcastle and how we approach this, I don't even think it's much to do with our technical ability. All I'm going to say is I hope Potter has a way of getting through to these players and motivating them enough for them to go and give absolutely everything and not relax. That's what I feel needs to be done. Is he needs to he needs to show a little bit of a dirty side sometimes. It's not always nice.
Yeah. And I think it's understandable because his whole, I mean, he's emotional intelligence degree or whatever. He's obviously a very chill guy. He doesn't get too high with the highs, doesn't get too low with the lows. But emotion is a very powerful tool, and you got to use it at some point in a positive and negative way, because at the end of the day, they're meant to be some of the best players in the world. Well, they're not, but they play for one of the best teams in the world. I know that. And they need a kick. And you can't just be that nice guy that came from Brighton and doesn't want to, spoil the apple cart because, you don't want to ruffle a few feathers around because, I'm from Brighton, I'm just a normal guy. I'm just Graham. Graham.
I'm just a seagull, man. I'm just a seagull.
Listen, Seagull Graham. You can't be just Graham. You have to be Harry Potter, bro. You have to come with the wand and you got to work some magic and bro, you're dressing like it anyway. You got the fade, you're nearly there. So it's just hopefully maybe it's just a confidence issue. You know what I mean? We speak about players having confidence all the time.
Have the cigar or something. Yeah.
But we speak about players having confidence. Maybe managers suffer from confidence as well. You never know. We never speak about it.
You know what? I don't think it's much to do with confidence in itself, like the players have lost belief within themselves. I don't think it's that.
I think about Potter.
No, absolutely. But what's reflected onto the players, I don't think it's a sense of confidence. It's if this keeps going, it can be a sense of being just too chilled.
Yeah.
And just too relaxed. And the players think that they may be doing what they have to do, when in reality they're not being pushed over the line or pushed that extra bit, which is down to Potter. It's down to Potter and his staff. And I feel like that needs to be done. And we'll see how we play tomorrow against Newcastle. We'll see if there's a response. And if there isn't, there's going to be points made.
See, my thing is, what is the conversation that's going on? I wonder what the conversations are going on. I wonder if there's any conversations that Todd's having. As I said, boys, honestly speaking, when was the last time you guys remember Chelsea Football Club potentially going 5 games without a win in the Premier League?
Well, we're already in our worst form since 17-18. So if we lose one more, it can go to 15-16, I'm guessing.
Yeah. It doesn't happen because people get sacked.
Exactly.
At this point, people get sacked.
People get sacked. Because I remember saying this when Lamps got sacked, that at Chelsea Football Club, as soon as a manager gets 2 back-to-back losses or you don't get a win, the articles are on drafts. But they're about to be.
Liam Tooney's like, well.
The Athletic. They're waiting to press enter.
They're
full time. Enter.
Boom. And 5. Like, after this, I need my other hand to start bringing in numbers. Do you know what I mean? Like,
but it's a new dawn. It's a new day, Miz. We don't do that anymore. And to be honest, I'm glad we don't, because who knows what Lampard was cooking? Who knows, bro? We will never find out.
Look, I'm not saying Graham Potter out. No, that's ridiculous. I'm not talking about that. I'm more talking about even you being a new manager and a new setup and whatnot. You got to find solutions to get a result, man. Like, you can't have 5 games at Chelsea. Maybe in Brighton. I'm pretty sure last season Brighton, they went through a stage of 6 or 7 games without winning. I'm pretty certain there was a stage last season where they had 6 or 7 games and there was no pressure. That's
acceptable over there.
That's acceptable. Because at Brighton, it's 40 points. It's 40 points, and then anything above that, bonus.
Yeah.
That's not the case at Chelsea. 40 points, and after that is woohoo, bonus time here on in. No, like, this is serious talk now. So that's what I'm saying. A victory against Man United, we should have been able to squeeze that 1-0 out somehow. That's 3 there. Brentford, somehow do something. I don't know if you guys heard Thomas Tuchel's recent podcast in India.
I didn't.
There was a key quote.
I'm still in my getting over phase, so I just decided to stay health as well.
I'm going to listen to it very soon, but there's a key quote that he says in that podcast. He said, even in a process, if there's short-term issues, you try and get over that. But even in a process, if there's prolonged losses, people will not trust the process anymore. It's as simple as that. So what is long-term? Is 5 long enough where you go, what's going on? Come on. Like, or is 10, or is 15 games, or is it 20 games, or is it the season? Like, I don't know.
To be fair though, has he really done a project? Tuchel, what's his longest stint at a club?
Who?
Tuchel.
I think Dortmund.
Yeah,
probably there for 3
Probably
seasons.
Dortmund.
Maybe.
Yeah, because I don't know, the way he was using Gallagher, that didn't really look like no process there. So I'm not sure about all that. You know what I'm saying? So listen, I don't want to do any revisionism with any former managers, because the reason why we're in this mess is because of everybody involved. Do you know what I mean? It goes all the way back to Conte. Everybody's played their part. Do you know what I mean? Everybody's contributed to this mess. You all put your hands together and you put your and you say whatever you want to say, cheers or whatever. Do you know what I mean? And it goes down to the former board and everyone. So yeah, it's a bit of a madness. Younes just got off the phone with Potter. Super chat there. Younes, did you give the players an earful? I say not.
No, I'm not gonna go. I'm not gonna rock up to the training ground and go, "Oh, you're all crap. All of you are absolute joke. What you guys do?" I'm not gonna do that. What was good is just to see their mannerisms, just to see what they're like as individuals, as characters, how they are, what their moods are like, what's the vibe at training, like things like that. And then you meet them, you get to talk to them very briefly, and you just see what they're about. Understandably, it was the game after a day against Man City, so I'm not expecting an absolute full-blown session where they give 250%. But you read little things that you can't see unless if you're actually there seeing it, right? So I spoke to them. We told Graham Potter, listen, hope the results are going to pick up, right? They have to. And he went, that's what we're aiming for. And then went off. I'm like, all right, cheers. So there's that, but all the players in itself, it was just a case of just letting them know, things have to pick up, right? I'm not going to grill them and go, your pants, your crap, but I had a good insight.
Also, because that doesn't help. Like,
it doesn't help. It doesn't help.
Grilling someone and then expecting their performance on Saturday to be better is not really. It's kind of counterproductive. So yeah.
No, it's counterproductive, and at least for the first time. If you build a relationship after, then you can start saying those things.
Oh,
right?
Believe me, if I had these guys and I knew, and then we were best friends, I'd be telling you, bro, you're shit, bro.
At that point, you see exactly. But it's a good idea now to give the benefit of the doubt, to see what it was like at training, to see what they're like in that environment that people don't get access to see the game against Newcastle, and then make a judgment. So right now, I'm just like, okay, I've seen. I have my thoughts, positive and negative, and regardless if we win or lose, I'll be saying it after the game. And then after that, we'll be able to know exactly, on the basis of what I saw in training, how it's affected the game against Newcastle.
I think as football fans, we got to be able to separate the footballer and the individual as a person. We need to be able to distinguish that. Yeah. Like, I loved what you said, Younes, about Mason Mount in your video. By the way, shout out to Younes's video. If you guys haven't watched that, please check that out. It was amazing content. One of the best you're going to get. So check that out. But I love what you said about...
I couldn't film, but yeah.
I love what you said about Mount, like his character, his attitude in training. I'm not surprised, as Matisse was saying in WhatsApp in our chat as well. We're not surprised. This is probably why he gets selected. We've said it many a times. There's a reason why Mount gets selected. He surely does the things right. And that's great. That's Mount as a human being, humble, as you said, good character, nice, bubbly character.
Yes, yeah.
But that's not going to take me away from talking about Mount being a footballer and what he gives us in the team and the game.
Yeah.
I'm not going to fall for the fact that, Mount, you're a humble guy, so I'm not going to constructively criticize you anymore. The fact is, you ghosted against Arsenal. You may be a great character to hang around with on a weekend, but you ghosted against Arsenal.
Yeah.
So there's two different things here.
Yeah.
And I think that this is where we need to. That's how we need to be critical, I suppose.
You know the thing with Mason. I'll give what I honestly think. Right, I think if there are players training as they need to be training, then Mount, I wouldn't say will have a problem, but he'll find it harder to get into teams. right? Because right now, in terms of training, he's always a shining example.
Yeah.
But then you look at the others, and what are they giving, right? And I'll say that after the game against Newcastle, we'll see what some performances are going to be like, and then I'll be able to relate if it does actually connect to what I saw in training. But Mason, you can always just see he's giving 100. He's giving 100. Whatever a drill is, whatever what they've been told to do, he's on it. He's on it. He's on it. And at least during a drill or during a session or during an exercise, he's doing what needs to be done. On a match day, right? In a match day situation, on a ball, being under pressure, whatever, we've all recognized flaws. We've all recognized what can go wrong. We all sometimes go, yo, you're not doing what you need to do. The players around him, though, in training, right, need to look at themselves, though, in order for Mount to be able to be put under more pressure. Because in training, he's a shining example.
I think if Mount's going to be put under more pressure, we simply need better players.
That's exactly it.
You know,
that's exactly it.
If you have an Nkuku and a Rafael Leao at his best form, or just whatever forward you want to pluck out of the sky that you think is of a top level, if you have these players, he doesn't play in the front three because you have front three players that are actually forwards. So then he moves back into midfield. Now, if you actually get, say you had a Bellingham, say we had Bellingham, Tchouaméni and Valverde and Mason Mount for three positions, 4 players. He's not going to play every game because the competition is going to be incredible, and he's going to unless he's in like Mason Mount serious form, like he's playing brilliantly, and one of the other guys are not. Then it might be a conversation. But if he's not playing well, then he won't be in the team. But the issue is that when people are like, "Oh, well, why don't we just drop him?" It's like we don't have players that are necessarily clearly playing better. Everybody's playing poorly, so it's like, well, then who's working the hardest? And then it goes back to him. So then he goes
exactly
back to the team. Like
exactly
that's the equalizer, is that he's working the hardest. Everybody's playing poorly, so then in he goes. And the undroppable status comes from a lack of quality. Do you know what I mean? A lack of quality. For me, I say if we had world-class players glittered across a squad like we used to, then this wouldn't happen. But because the standards are low, very low for Chelsea and where we should be, then whoever does work the hardest and then shows, you know, glimpses and runs of games of form, which he's done, is going to play. You know, if you look at Mount over the last couple of years and compared to Kai Havertz, there's no competition as to who has more credit in the bank, who deserves to play more games, etc. Like, I don't think Kai's hasn't even had Mason's second player of the year season, let alone the first, which I think was better. He hasn't even had the numbers one, let alone the performances one. So that's what it comes down to. It comes down to the fact that people are not performing in his position. He does perform at times, and then he works the hardest as well. And you know that he's going to give everything, and managers like that. So
to put it in a simple manner, here's a basic example. Think about the olden times, like when we had Drogba and Nalka. You know, let's say whoever else was out. You know, let's go back even way back. Joe Cole. You know, you had midfielders like Lampard, Ballack, Essien, Ramirez, all that. I'm talking about that particular generation. Players like Kai would be in development squad. I'll tell you right now. They wouldn't even see the first team. Players like Kai. Players like Mount would probably be a sub, would be a bench player. They'd be coming off the bench. They wouldn't regularly start because the level of talent back then that we had, as Matisse was saying, world-class players or near enough world-class players scattered everywhere.
It's only Reece James.
Reece James probably the only one that probably would start because, let's face it, at that time, obviously Aspilicueta,
Paulo Ferreira you had as well.
Paulo Ferreira,
Basingwa.
Who else was there on the right side?
He starts in these teams.
Yeah, Reece is probably the only one that clear-cut starts probably. But besides that, every other player right now, the forget about Sterling and all those people.
The young players.
But the young players. Now, as I said, Kai probably wouldn't even be a Chelsea player during that time. He wouldn't. Simple as that. And Mount at best would be a bench.
I wonder if Potter is almost scared to drop him. You know, those comments that you guys were talking about in your videos where he was like, he needs to play consistently to play well and all these things. I mean, listen, like I said, there's not really much competition anyway, but Is he scared to drop him? Is he going to get the evil eyes if he drops him?
No. For now, I honestly believe as someone, especially as someone that's new, right, who just walked in weeks ago. Like I said, like I can only speak on the observation that I've seen. Right, he sees someone trained to the max, he's going to pick him.
Yeah.
Right, and if he thinks, okay, I'm going to drop him, who's going to step up to replace him in that role?
Yeah.
And if he's not seeing that,
I'm not even saying he should be dropped because I agree with you. Who is going to step up?
Personally, we know that the level, in terms of really, really talking about the level, like we just mentioned about some of the players from the past, yeah, it's not there, even with Mason. Let's be real. But in terms of what is available right now for a new manager that's walked in, he bases what he sees on training and during a match day in terms of who delivers compared to others, right? Yeah, Mount is obviously going to get selected.
Yeah, and to be honest, I don't really see why he wouldn't be selected either. I don't think there's anybody that is knocking on the door right now. I think Pulisic's knocking on the door. He's knocking on Sterling's door, and that door should be opened. Brozier's knocking on Aubameyang's door, even though Brozier's not even scoring. I just think Aubameyang has been that poor that we should just give Brozier the start for me. I think those two could come in. If Ziyech had maybe accumulated more games, it'd be a realistic shout. I don't think it is against Newcastle, but if it happens, cool, you know. But if he's not in the long-term thinking and he's leaving in January anyway, then, I mean, you know, what are we really? We're only getting one more game regardless. So I don't know. It's a weird situation where you don't really know where your next goal is coming from. You don't really know where your next, you know, your next big performer is coming from in terms of who's going to step up to the plate next. You just don't know. And yeah, it's unfortunate. But Newcastle, I mean, Bruno Guimaraes, bloody hell, man. Close him down, please, somebody, when he takes shots, because that man there is a problem from distance. He can really shoot. He's got better shooting technique than our forwards, and he's a midfielder. Like, the guy is a menace right now. Almiron on the right, you know, hopefully Cucurella continues his form.
I just saw St. Maximin's back. He was playing in the Carabao Cup.
Of course he is. Of course he's back.
Yeah, he's back.
Oh, man.
So he's going to feature at
my God. You can't catch your
some
break.
degree.
This brother has been injured for months, and as soon as Chelsea rock up, just suddenly, mysteriously, magically, he's back. Out of nowhere. I forgot this brother was even playing for Newcastle. He was out that long. Now he's suddenly back.
And it's not just even that. I think they're outlets on the fullback position with Trippier. Trippier is another one of those, sort of like a playmaker. Do you know what I mean? So they've got a lot of things going for them. The biggest thing they've got going for them is their buzzing, the vibe, the. This time last year, boys, they were last.
Yeah. They were last, yeah. They were bottom.
They were last.
Yeah.
Now, see, that, ladies and gentlemen, is a prime example of process. Trust the process. Last
I knew it.
to third. Last to third. If you want to know, you're being unfair. Like, no, that's process. That's progression. That's Newcastle fans believing that something can happen. You need to show that. There's some interesting stat. I don't know whether this is right. Have they picked up the most points since the start of this season? Start of this year? Since January?
Year. They might have. I'm not sure. They're definitely
up
there.
If that's the case.
Really well. January onwards, they were on form.
Yeah, January onwards. Apparently, someone said to me they picked up the most, something like, I don't know, or maybe second most or something like that.
The thing in common that these teams seem to have is stability. Like, not just from a managerial standpoint, because from a managerial standpoint, we have stability. But I'm talking about important contracts running out, players being unsettled. We're seeing a report drop of Cover and Mendy being unsettled when I thought it would be Jorginho and Kante. But then you've got, you know, Aubameyang, and he's not really probably going to be here more than a year, thankfully. Like, it's literally just constantly, every year, there is some sort of unsettled player or some sort of, and not just any, like, if Bettinelli was unsettled, we would live. We would live with that. But it's always a key player, a leader, whether it's Rudiger or it's Jorginho. And when your future is in doubt, and when the club is not stable year in, year out, new owners, new staff, it's not going to be, you're not going to find consistency on the pitch when you don't have consistency off the pitch. And that is what Newcastle don't suffer from. That is what Arsenal right now don't suffer from. They got rid of all of the unsettled, you know, Arteta disobedience. Do you know what I mean? They got rid of them all. And until we properly get our squad completely cleansed, and to be honest, I find it hilarious that we did a pretty good job of that in the summer, and then we brought in a striker that has an Arsenal tattoo and doesn't really continue to cleanse, but only really now needs to join the cleanse for me. It's funny, but listen, that's what we do. Do you know what I mean? That's what we do. We bring in players that are not really too bothered about whether we succeed or not, that don't really care, and then we complain about attitude, and then we complain about commitment, and it's ironic. It's ironic from this club, but it's what we do. You know, it's one of our favorite traits, self-destruct button. So, you know, how many goals does the guaranteed number 9 striker have this season? 5? 3? Because when I check BBC Sport top scorers,
I think 3.
When I check BBC Sport for top scorers, I went down the first 24 names. No Chelsea players on it. No Chelsea player is in the top 24 goal scorers in the Premier League. So,
blimey, we've had Sterling's on 5,
and Aubameyang is a service striker, and we don't create enough chances. I said it in the summer. Even when Sterling came in, we need to bring in more creative players. We need to bring in another creative player because our creativity stinks. And it was good against City, but that's because they came onto us. They leave space in behind. Same as last season against Liverpool and all these other big teams. When we play against teams that even remotely sit a bit deeper, or even Arsenal, who didn't sit deeper, we just couldn't create against them. You know, we couldn't create against Everton when we played them at home, and we drew against them at Stamford Bridge, and we drew against Brighton at home, and etc. etc. And you look at Jesus up front for Arsenal, who got no goals, and you look at Grealish, who get no goals against Arsenal. You look at Aubameyang, who got no goals against Arsenal, and you can see who performs properly and who doesn't in terms of who actually can contribute to I was going to say multifaceted. I had to stop myself. you can see who contributes. You can see who contributes to. This is the point I'm making, because you got to listen. Goals. I'm asking where's Aubameyang's goals, because he doesn't contribute to other parts of the game. That's what I'm asking. I'm not going to ask you too much about Jesus, because look at Jesus' assists. Look at Jesus' pressing. Look at Jesus nutmegging Silva and Chilwell. Or who else did he nutmeg? Sorry, it was Silva and who else? Cucurella?
Bro, Jesus out-muscled Ruben Loftus-Cheek. He threw Ruben Loftus-Cheek.
Didn't he?
Yes. So when you ask me how many goals does Jesus have, Arsenal fans don't care. You want to know why? Because they're top of the league, and he's been creating chances, and he's been pressing, and he's been winning the ball high up the pitch, and he's been holding up the ball, and he's been running the channels, and he's been helping Saka get goals and Martinelli get goals. So they don't care. So he's playing the Firmino Liverpool false 9 role properly. That's what we could have had.
Arsenal without Jesus doesn't stay top, because Arsenal without Jesus is Lacazette.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what was Arsenal?
Was meant to
what was Arsenal with Lacazette, Saka, and Martinelli? What were they? They missed out on top 4. They absolutely bottled it. What's Arsenal with Jesus, Martinelli, and Saka? Top of the table. So you can comment as much as you want. Oh, how many goals is? See, that's such a narrow way to look at football, man. It's such a. You got to watch this guy's contribution and what he does. Now you're going to say, oh, what about Mount's contribution and Kai's? No, they don't have the same impact, mate. They don't. Matisse was talking about creativity. Brothers like Mount and Havertz should be stepping up in terms of creativity. Apparently, they're known as some form of creators, or they have the passing abilities.
Look at Grealish against us.
Yeah.
No goals and assists, but he was a menace.
The whole game. So this is the thing, but it's not even just about, the player. Again, it's about who's going to work for you, who's going to actually give a shit about your targets, who's actually going to put in 100% effort constantly. That's the environment that Chelsea need to create. And Chelsea constantly know they need to create that environment, then go back on it because they get lazy, or they panic and they start buying players late on in the window. Oh, we didn't get our first 2 targets, so we're going to buy in players that don't fit with what we're trying to do. It's honestly so annoying, because it's just constant cycle back and forth all the time. And then we have to rectify another issue, when really, instead of rectifying an issue, if you just got it correct the first time, we could move on to another issue, like the midfield, or like that position or that position. But Chelsea, over the last couple of years, are constantly fixing problems that they already tried to fix the summer before. The attack. If we weren't buying weak minded and weak physically attackers who are limited and can't play in the positions that they told us they could, then we would not be still focusing on attackers. We would not be talking about Nkuku and Hendrick. We would be moving on to other areas like the midfield. But we are just constantly just going and now we're getting another striker in Nkuku. Because why? Because we brought in, I don't know, maybe because we don't trust any of our attackers right now. It's just we're just constantly just going around in circles. But the reason why it annoys me is because while we're going around in circles, Newcastle are going like that and like that and like that. And now Manchester United, the other team that spent loads of money that were just like us, are now making signings that actually improve them and are going like that and are going like that. And Arsenal, to my surprise, are now actually going like that and like that. And City are just there anyway.
Don't even discard Brighton, mate. Like, honestly, don't discard
Brighton. We're literally robbing Brighton for all of their recruitment. We just took another. We just took another.
End up worse, and they end up better. Like,
they still. Bro, I'm convinced that Stamford Bridge they're going to slap us again for this because it's becoming disrespectful. I'm not going to lie, but again, you know, we're taking all of their recruitment stuff. I hope it actually translates into recruitment that, you know, is on the level of what we're taking them for. Like, okay, we're taking their recruitment staff to find gems that are not just obvious to the eye, and we're going to bring in players like, say, you saw Timicas went to Liverpool. No one saw that coming from Olympiacos. Great signing, great backup left back. I hope that we actually make those shrewd signings where, because if you're bringing in recruitment staff, but then you're going to get Rafael Leao and Trossard, who's already been scouted, then, I mean, we don't really need these guys, do we?
Give me the Andy Robertson style from Hull City for 2 million or whatever the case was for Liverpool. Like that kind of level of, you know, transfers. So
yeah, 100%. So, I mean, yeah, for this game, what's the confidence levels, boys?
Well, I've created a new phenomenon where I've seen other people talk about this. XL. Do you guys know what XL stands for? Expected loss. Apparently, this is a thing now, boys. I don't know. A lot of people are talking about this. Expected loss. There's expected goals, expected assists. There's expected loss. Apparently, against Man City, it was an expected loss. That was expected. It was XL expected loss.
The XL was one.
I get you. Yeah, I'm getting you.
Yeah. So, and also apparently against Arsenal was an expected loss as well. So we are 2 out of 2 in our expected loss, which is great news. So we're moving in the right direction. Against Newcastle, can we really expect a win? I don't think so. They're playing well. I think they're best draw. I'm not gonna lie. At best, a draw.
What's their expected starting 11? Because again, on paper, you know what's funny? On paper, we're better than them.
On paper, Matisse, we're better than a lot of teams. Like, on paper, we're better than Brighton as well if you put player by player.
Yeah.
They slapped us 4-1 though. Do you know what I mean?
Newcastle's expected lineup is Nick Pope, Trippier, Sarr, you got Botman, Byrne, Longstaff, Bruno Gomes, Joe Willock, Almiron, Callum Wilson, Joe Linton, and Wilson could be out. He's doubtful.
Don't disregard Joe Linton, man. He's on fire in recent times. Do you know what I mean?
He's
a midfielder these days,
and he's expected to play left just because there's no winger, and they've got Longstaff and Willock in there. If I had read that team to you, if I had read that team out, people would be like, "What the hell are we worried about?"
Yeah. Wood, Shelby, St. Maximin, of course. But they look at that
philosophy.
On a normal day. Exactly, yeah. On a normal day, you'd expect Chelsea to go there and probably win 4-1.
Longstaff, bro. Willock. This is what we're afraid of.
They're a team.
Exactly.
They're a team. They're a team.
Like, they're a team. They play together. They've got a mentality. They're aggressive, especially at St. James's Park. And right now, with confidence on top of that. And they know that Chelsea are coming to St. James's tomorrow a little bit shaky. They know they're not stupid. And they've got good history against us. I'm not expecting much. I'm not expecting much.
Not Excel, though. Not Excel. Wow, it's an Excel. Oh, my days. Chelsea
I honestly want to say for if it was Newcastle of old, normal, I'd be like, okay, it's a little bit uncertain. Newcastle are playing like they should be top 4 right now. I expect them to win at home.
Yeah.
It's a huge match for them as well, boys.
It's
like
massive.
they want to solidify
Yeah, of
top
course.
4.
I mean, they're going to be trying to go into the World Cup in the top 4, and then they go on their break, and then they come back and they're refreshed and ready to go again.
I have to be honest. What I'm expecting is the same issue. We won't find the net. Newcastle will.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Someone was saying all this Mount energy, but where's the energy for cover? I mean, the Mount topic came up because somebody in the chat before we went live asked about why don't you give Mount the same energy as Kai? And I thought to myself, players don't get the same energy because players don't perform to the same level. That's why. So if 2 players are going through bad performances, I'm going to look at who's contributed more, who's got more credit in the bank, who's performed better over the course of their Chelsea career. And that's why Kai doesn't get the same energy as Mount, and Silva doesn't get the same energy as Koulibaly, etc., etc. It's about who's been performing prior, not just what they're doing right now. Because if everybody's going to go through bad form, there's no player who's always in form. So you look at how often are they out of form? Are they out of form all the time, or are they out of form just a little bit at a time? Do you get 1 bad game in 10, or do you get 5 games in 10, or 8 games in 10? And on Kovacic, he's injured. So, you know, that's important to note. He's literally carrying an injury, and everybody knows that. So, you know, as much as his performance against Man City wasn't great, gave the ball away, I'm pretty sure he's carrying an injury. Literally, he is. So we need to remember, you know, if they're not fully fit, I mean, I don't really know what you expect from a player. They're literally humans. If you're literally hurt and you're playing football, you're going to drop off. It's literally to be expected. So yeah, I don't really get it. Outside of him being unsettled, which I didn't really understand that report that came out of nowhere, him and Mendy, I don't think cover is one of our biggest issues because, like I said, I think Jorginho and Kante, you'd move on first and replace them, and then you go from there. Let's say what I'm for is actually offer retaining ball. That's it.
Just let you know, guys. So I've got to shoot in a sec. So if you want to keep going, go for it. But yeah,
for
in
sure.
about a minute, I'm dropping.
Yeah, we got to wrap up soon anyway. What's your score prediction for this, Younes?
Oh man. I'm gonna be mad here, right? And I'm gonna speak because I'm being real. I'm going 2-0 Newcastle.
2-0 Newcastle. Bloody hell. What about you, Miz?
I'm probably like Younes. Where's the goal coming from? Who's scoring for us? I don't feel confident. And now, you know, last game before World Cup, there will be that whole situation. How hard are they going to go? Knowing that they don't want to pick up an injury. Look, I don't know, man. Maybe 1-0 Newcastle.
Wow.
And on that bombshell.
Bloody hell. Jesus Christ. Not even neither of you are even giving us a goal.
No.
Who's going to score? Jorginho pen? That's probably the only thing I'm thinking. Jorginho penalty.
Oh God.
And look, after the game, we'll see what happens. Yeah. As I've said, I will mention what I have noticed and what I've seen, but post match because it's only right. But yeah, we're not expecting goals. Let's just say that.
Okay, no. Well, I'm looking at the chat as well, and it doesn't seem like there's much confidence there in terms of the score predictions, which is a shame. I can't really say that I disagree. I'm not really being too upbeat when people have been asking me, "Oh, how do you think that game's going to go this week, Matisse?" I've been like, I'm looking forward to the break, the World Cup. I can't even say I'm even looking forward to the World Cup because it's at a weird time, and it doesn't really make any sense that we're watching the World Cup in the winter, but it is what it is. Younes, let the people know where to find you, bro. Pleasure as always.
Nice one, guys. Younes Talks Football, as always. I'll give my preview later on today as to how I think it's going to go down. And then after that, tomorrow, it's all said and done. I'll give my review. We'll see how they do, and then we'll take it from there. It's going to get interesting. Let's just say that.
There you go.
But yeah, I've got to shoot. So
yeah, we'll let you go,
guys.
bro.
Thank you all so much, guys. Thank you for watching, and wish us luck. In a bit.
Big up, bro. Big up.
Younes, bro.
Jesus. make Chelsea great again. You don't need to keep spamming the same message in the chat, or I'm going to have to time you out because it's really annoying. What do you make on this before we leave? Let's not.
Look, I can stay around, bro.
Yeah, let's. I mean, let's not address it, right?
I need therapy, bro. I need therapy.
People are talking about Cover. Obviously, Cover's injury prone, so that's another player to add to the list. But I mean, it's not that he's not irreplaceable for sure. I mean, you could definitely. I mean, it's just how many midfielders are we going to sell in one go, really? I mean, if we had addressed this issue. If we had addressed the Kante and Jorginho issue when we should have, which was probably about 2 seasons ago, definitely last summer, then we could have dealt with Cover next, really. Yeah. But we're behind. So it's like, in terms of pecking order, who are you getting rid of, I guess, first in that midfield to bring in another?
Look, I think the Kante situation is quite obvious, right, Matisse? Like, he's injured, like he barely plays for us, but. Maybe Matisse, the decision is not even on us. Like, what if players like Kovacic, honestly speaking, and then this is sort of like a side plot that I'm thinking, what if seriously that they're so impacted by the fact that Tuchel's left that they don't feel the connection with the football club anymore? Like, someone like Kovacic has seen Sarri, Lamps, Tuchel, Potter. Like, he's seen a lot of. And
he's not really been here for a long enough time to have seen that many managers.
That's a hell of a lot of instability in one club for a player, a short period. What, 3 seasons, 4 seasons, maybe 4? Matt, I think it is 4.
He's been here since 2019. 2018-19.
This is his 5th season.
How can this be your 5th season and you're on your 4th manager?
That's mad, man. That is really mad. So he could potentially, Matisse, say to Graham Potter that maybe I want to move on. I don't know whether I feel comfortable to be part of a project. I need an established team that wins. I need to ensure. I won't be surprised if he goes to Serie A. I won't be surprised if he goes to like an AC Milan. Do you know what I mean? He's played in Inter Milan previously. I wouldn't be surprised if he goes. Yeah. So is the power on us? I don't know. Like, maybe with someone like Kante, the power is on us. We say, you know what, we don't give you a contract. With Jorginho, power is on us. Someone like
Kovacic. Loftus-Cheek as well. What about him? Is he good enough to start for Chelsea?
Do you know what? This is such a good question, man. I think in recent times, a lot of sympathy, a lot of pity. We feel sad about his story. We feel sad about his, career. That even the most basic thing that he does, we go, wow, Loftus, wow, Ruben, that's been. But we need to deep it. We need better. We need more. We need goals. We need assists from midfield. And in recent times, Ruben Loftus-Cheek looks out of it, man.
None of the midfielders can shoot from distance. And again, I'm not saying that that's a absolute key asset to have, but it would be nice. And to be one of the best teams in the world, for sure, you need players that can shoot from distance. Look at Valverde. Look at Bruno Gomes. Look at all of these, look at all of these midfielders that we used to have. We used to be a threat from long distance. Again, I'm not saying that that's XG Merchant's, dream. But what I am saying is that I would sure love to have picked up some extra points this season from moments of long distance shooting, from KDBs. Do you know what I mean? From moments of like, okay, we couldn't break this team down today. We're going to take a shot. We're going to take a shot from far. Look at Partey at Arsenal. We're going to take a shot from far and it might get deflected. The keeper might spill it. We might score. We need to make sure that we have every different type of way of scoring a goal. And long distance shooting is also part of that. And if you can't do that from midfield, and on top of that, you can't say we don't have, there's quite a few midfielders that we have that are not really very good passers. I'd say they're average passers. I'd say Ruben's an average passer. Kante's an average passer, but he obviously would make up for it on other things when he was fit. But, there's just too many assets and traits missing.
Who's our Xhaka? Like, look at Arsenal, Matisse. Yeah. Who's our Xhaka? Xhaka chips in with goals, assists. Who's that?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, we need to probably revamp that entire midfield. And talk about Zakaria as well. A lot of people were hyping him up after the Zagreb match. I like, even me, I wanted him to start against Arsenal, but I think I now understand why Potter doesn't start him. he could not keep up with the pace against Man City. Like, that's how I felt. The match against Man City, he was a passenger. He could not keep up with anything. So Zakaria is not an out and out option either.
He should probably be leaving in January anyway, isn't he? To be honest.
I don't see any benefit in keeping him, man. Like, I mean, if it's for games like Zagreb or lower sort of teams, but when it comes against top teams, this guy's not going to start. It's simple as that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, just it's mad. It feels like the team needs just as much work as it needed last summer. But when you look back on
Even
last
more.
summer, when you look back on last summer's transfer window and the money we spent on, say, a left back and a centre back and all these things, do you regret 70 million on Fofana, 60 million on Cucurella?
100%. Probably not Cucurella, Matisse. I don't regret. And I know a lot of people might say, oh, that's biased, means you like Cucurella. No, we needed someone to back up Chilwell, or else Chilwell's injured again.
Yeah.
We needed someone.
Yeah, literally, yeah. If anything, we just needed to go and do that at right back as well.
100. This is why I did not really want Fofana. I wasn't going mad for him. No disrespect to Fofana. I think he's a top defender. But is he 70 million better than Chalobah? The Chalobah. This is why I said keep Chalobah, work on Chalobah, maybe even keep Levi Colwill.
Levi Colwill had a great game against Arsenal.
Had a mad game, Matisse.
At last, he finally played. Obviously, that was the B team, but you know.
Still, he had a really good team. A really good match. Rather had spent that 70 million that we spent on Fofana and should have got a right-sided player, a Dumfries, Kyle Walker-Peters, whatever, like whoever we were linked with. That would have made more sense. Right now, our team is suffering from the flanks.
Yeah.
Fofana's injured anyway.
Yeah.
And I don't know what the future is for Fofana. Like, I'm not saying he's injured. I don't know, though. I don't want to still comment on that because he had a broken leg and then he's had a knee issue. We'll see what happens if something does happen down the track. So I can't really, because a broken leg, you can't really say someone's an injury-prone player because they had a broken leg. That's ridiculous. But if he keeps having these muscle-related injuries, much like Reece James is injury-prone. Not a single season has gone by where Reece James hasn't been injured.
Yeah.
And we still don't have his backup. Aspilicueta is still his backup. It's mad.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that situation on that side needs rectifying so soon. It's mad. But the good point and the saving grace is that we are bringing in people in recruitment. So what happened last summer, I don't expect to see that again. Do you know what I mean? With recruitment, I expect recruitment now going forward, especially from the summer onwards, when they've had a lot of time to really understand the squad and what's needed and what's not. Because right now we're still putting in people in those recruitment positions. I'm expecting recruitment from Chelsea to be a lot better because I wasn't really excited. I mean, obviously when the announcements are happening, it's always fun, but you know, I wasn't really excited too much about Sterling unless we bring in another attacker with him, which we ended up getting Aubameyang, who I didn't really want. You know, but then it's like, because we didn't address the midfield, there was always a limit. There was always a ceiling as to what we were going to get anyway. Because like, I'm not looking at this team and thinking, oh, that means Sterling's a bad attacker now. Sterling is a very good player, can be world class maybe, but depends on his form or not. But he has his limitations. When we signed Sterling, we knew he had limitations in his game. We didn't look at Sterling and think, Sterling is like this unstoppable all-round player that can do anything at any moment. We know that Sterling's finishing is hit and miss. We know this. So to completely rely upon him, which we did at the start of the season for goals, and he was our best attacker, that was never going to last. And if we continue to keep, neglecting the key areas and the key profiles and the key mentalities as well in this team, then we're going to suffer.
Sterling for me is one piece of the puzzle. He ain't the entire puzzle itself. He's one piece. And I've said the same thing. Sterling by himself ain't going to cut it. Sterling was doing good at City, not because of his individuality. He was literally picking up the final pieces off the back of great pass from KDB or Bernardo Silva or Mahrez, like Foden. He had Aguero. He had the supporting cast. He doesn't have the supporting cast. He himself has to do that. Like that's not his profile. Sterling is a great player from the left, sure, but more importantly, Sterling knows how to get into key positions into the box and tap in goals.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? There was a one goal, was it against Leicester, Matisse, where he was literally there, Reece James cross, and he tapped it in? Was that Leicester?
I'm not sure.
Where he did that?
Yeah, maybe.
But that's his bread and butter. That's his bread and butter.
Yeah.
That's Sterling for you. Do you know what I mean? He knows how to get into those areas in the box, but you need to have like a Reece James to whip in those really nice balls. Now you don't have a Reece James. So that outlet is gone. And we don't have anyone of that capability to produce that kind of ball.
Even in the City game, how many times did people make runs and they weren't spotted?
Oh,
it's
tons,
just so many times still, like almost seeing the pass, but they refuse to play it. I don't know why. Maybe, I mean, it's been happening for years. Gundogan will happily punch that ball through, but they don't want to. Yeah, they don't want to make the pass because I don't know. They just hang on to the ball for too long, and then the passing option's gone. Happened quite a few times with Armando Broja, and then next thing you know, we're moving on to the next. We're moving on to the next sequence of play.
It reduces their stat percentage. I swear, I'm not even kidding. There was a few people that were saying
pass completion.
Yeah, pass completion. There was a few people I was listening to the other day in TalkSport where they were like, some players would rather at the end of the match have 10 out of 10 passes, 100% pass accuracy. But those passes could be sideways passes.
Did you see what Kevin De Bruyne said about pass completion?
What did he say?
He said, "I don't care about pass completion." He said, "I don't care." He said, "I don't care about pass completion. If I try something and it doesn't work, I'm gonna try again afterwards."
See, people get upset when Hakim Ziyech says that kind of stuff. Like he tries stuff. Look, I'm not making a new petition to get Hakim Ziyech back into that. I'm just saying there are players that are willing to take risk because high risk, high reward. Do you know what I mean? For KDB or Gundogan, they want to keep continuing getting those riskier passes to put but they have a structure that even if they lose the ball, they can win the ball back. I think, do you know what, Matisse? I think that's the issue. These players, our players are worried that if we lose the ball, it's a counter and the blame is going to be on them that we conceded because of it.
And that's why we need midfielders that can cover ground and that can help us in transitions and that are not slow. Midfield is not the position to be slow in the Premier League. We've got away with it, and we've had imbalance in midfield as well. We need an actual holding midfielder. I mean, look at the difference Casemiro's made to Man United. Look at the difference Partey makes when he plays for Arsenal. Look at the difference Rodri makes for Man City. Look at the difference Bruno Guimaraes makes for Newcastle. There's countless examples of what a more physical, quicker, but still technically assured and good at build-up holding midfielder will do for a team. And it's like anybody now refusing to see that and running away from that purposefully is simply a stand. You're simply either a stand or you just wish to be right and you wish to cause havoc and you wish to go against the grain, because at the end of the day, every other team around us has this player in midfield. And I'm not saying, and I've never sat here and said that's the only issue. I don't say, oh, get this player in and we'll see how the attackers play then. Because I still believe that even when these attackers get chances like they did against Man City, they still can't shoot. So you still need to change the attackers. However, you definitely need the midfielder.
Yeah.
You definitely 100%. Need the midfielder. And it's clear as day. You have to get that midfielder in. And then you need the second choice right back, so you're not switching up your entire game for Aspie. And then you need to go and get players that can actually shoot, like have real shooting technique. None of these players outside of Aubameyang in the forward line have proper shooting technique. They don't hit the ball with any power. They don't hit the ball in the corners, and they don't take enough shots either. They don't even strike the ball cleanly. They always scuff at it. I've seen Kai Havertz many times scuff the ball. I've seen Pulisic many a time scuff the ball. Sterling, I've seen him, many a time miss some of the biggest sitters you'll ever see in your life. It's not good enough. Ziyech is not a shooter either. It's not good enough. How can you have attackers that can't shoot? It doesn't make any sense. And then expect goals. It doesn't make any sense, bro. It's not.
It's strange, man. It's strange that, and do you know what's even worse, Matisse? It's starting to really drop the fan base's standard as well. Like the other day, I don't know if you had the same comments when we lost against Arsenal. I made a few comments in my watch along that, oh man, Kai's having another one of those games again where he's just not showing up, like much like the rest of his season. Do you know what? Someone commented, Matisse, in the live chat, said,
What?
come on, Miz, he's probably been the most involved. I'm like, is that the level now? Is that what makes you happy? Because he's involved. God damn it. That's the basic to be involved. He's involved. All right, let's give a standing ovation.
Was this the Arsenal game, wasn't it?
The Arsenal game.
But he did. Did he not miss 2 clear-cut opportunities to play the ball to Aubameyang?
Look, I don't remember the game exactly, but all I remember that he didn't play well. But if we are going to be hanging on the fact that Miz he was involved, that just shows the standards that we now expect from our players.
Yeah.
Would you say this when Frank Lampard was part of the team? Oh, Frank was involved. Frank was involved every second of the game. That wasn't even a skill set that we even talked about. We only talked about Frank made 5 key passes, 1 goal, 3 tackles. Do you know what I mean? Involved. Every player was expected to be involved at bare minimum. It's mad. That's what gets us excited now.
It's mad. I mean,
crazy, bro.
Golden Boy should be more than involved. I've said it already this season. He needs to be golden. He needs to be doing big things in games. And if he's not, and I'm not talking about big things in games against Salzburg and Dinamo Zagreb, and I'm talking about big things in big games like this game. If he starts against Newcastle, I'm comparing him to the performance of Joe Linton and Bruno Guimaraes. And I want to see who's more involved and who's more impactful. Because I'm not even saying Joe Linton's even the standard, because he's trying to get into the top 4. We're already here. We're already playing Champions League knockouts. He's trying to get to where we are. So the fact that I'm even putting him with them is ridiculous. But it is what it is. That's where we're at right now. 3rd season, yeah, exactly. So we're gonna need a big performance. I say it every single game. I said it. In fact, I said it on last week's All You Can Eat Chelsea. Kai has played very well against Dinamo Zagreb and Salzburg and whatever. And he got his goal against Brighton. Don't think anybody played well against Brighton. He got his goal against Brighton. And people were like, you see, you need to apologize now, Miz. You need to apologize because we have beaten 2 open Champions League teams in pot 4 who could basically be Europa League teams. And we've beaten Brighton. Oh, sorry, we haven't. We've been slapped by Brighton, but he scored. So, you know, who cares?
Matisse, bring up that comment.
Apologize, so Miz. You need to apologize, bro.
I had to. So a lot of people said, Miz, apologize because he
Arsenal,
scored.
Isn't it? Yeah, and then what happened against Arsenal?
It's crazy. Matisse, bring up that comment from AD, A space D. Miz said, Zach was a passenger, now hating on involved. Math not mathing. I don't know if you can see that.
Oh, okay.
It's in pink.
Yeah.
This is exactly what I'm talking about. I think our issue is a lot deeper than just the team. I think now it's becoming a bit of a disease within the fan base where we can't expect stuff anymore. As I said, we've got a new phenomenon called XL, expected loss. We are sliding gradually, and basic things are starting to become glorious for us. Oh, he made a 3-yard pass. Oh, that was a great like this particular commentary that brother that made, you know, when I said about Zakaria and trying to compare that with Kai, that's such a silly comparison. Zakaria in defensive midfield, of course, needs to be heavily involved in that area to ensure that he cuts out all the situations from the opposition. But Kai Havertz being involved up front, it's not good enough just being involved. I need goals, assists. Do you know what I mean? And if you're going to be involved the level of Gabriel Jesus.
Yeah.
Can you tell me Kai was involved in that level against Arsenal?
No. But it's almost like a virus, isn't it? Once you have a couple of players not playing well, Sterling out on that right was poor, Aubameyang up top was anonymous, then it starts to seep to the rest of the team, because Kai Havertz is not Eden Hazard. Mason Mount is not Eden Hazard. Only certain very small pool of players are able to play their game regardless of what the others are doing and drag the team, force the team to play to the elite level. That's what Eden Hazard was capable of doing. That is what the special footballers are capable of doing. They are capable, even when others are dropping stinkers, they are able to pick everybody up, put them on the back and go. But Mason Mount and Kai Havertz, they're not going to be able to do that because they want to be able to, they need to be able to play with who's around them. Everybody needs to be having a good game. Everybody needs to be having
the last time, Matisse, Mount or Kai or anyone else single-handedly won us a match? Single-handedly.
It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. They're not capable of doing that. That's just, they're not on that level. They're not on that level.
Is that good enough for Chelsea? Now, this is the big question. Is that good enough for Chelsea?
Well, I don't need everybody to be Hazard, but I do need everybody to have the fundamentals, bare minimum. Do you know what I mean? And we go from there. And then you can add a couple special players around that. But right now, there's a lot of fundamentals missing. So that's the issue, isn't it? There's a lot of fundamentals missing for a lot of players. I talk about Kai because people will say, "Oh, well, Kai's a 10." Well, how comes Kai's a 10, but if you pass the ball into him in the half space, he loses it because he's not able to trap the ball and he's not strong enough to suffer a challenge. That is the complete opposite of what a 10 is meant to be able to do. A 10 is meant to be able to take the ball in the half space, turn and create an opportunity. He's not capable of doing that all the time because if he gets pressed by the right DM, like a Casemiro or Rodri, he's finished. So therefore, he can't play in the 10 at the highest level. So then we move him out wide. Okay, well then out wide, you need to be able to skip past players. You need to be able to dribble. You need to be able to have the speed to get past. He doesn't do that. He doesn't go. When was the last time he had a take on? Someone said to me the other day, our top take ons is 0.9 per game. Ruben Loftus-Cheek is top for take ons.
Willian from Fulham is ahead of all of us.
Moment of silence. So he can't play wide. So then we play him up front and, well, he can't finish. He can't finish to a consistent 20 goal a season in the league standard. So then where do you play him? I'll tell you where you play him. He goes onto the bench.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that. So until these attributes are developed, then you can't start. You can't start consistently until these attributes are developed. And no one can tell me that these attributes are here because I can't see them. You might see them every now and then. But to see them twice in 10 games against Zagreb and Salzburg is not good enough. You need to be able to see them against Newcastle. You need to be able to see them against Arsenal. When you're coming up against some of the best players, you need to be able to see some of the best attributes from your players if you're going to be one of the best teams. Unless we're trying to be a mid-table team. If you was to throw him into right now Crystal Palace, would he stand out with Eze, Alicia? Genuine question. Would Kai Havertz right now stand out amongst Eze, Alicia, Zaha? Would he stand out? No, for me, the answer is right now he wouldn't. He wouldn't stand out. Yeah. He wouldn't stand out with these players. If you used to play him next to these guys in a Crystal Palace team, I think, he would just fit right in. They might even outshine him. It depends on the day,
Olise, I think, would outshine him. Eze would outshine him. Zaha definitely would outshine him.
These players are quicker, stronger. They can dribble. That's a start. Finishing is not great, but so we are where we are for a reason, people. Do you know what I mean? And when you invest this much money into players, unfortunately, a player that I really, really, really wanted in Kai because I thought what I saw in the Bundesliga was gonna translate over. I was really excited. He was highly regarded. But if he doesn't pick it up this season, he's got to go in the summer. I'm sorry, and that's that. It doesn't get any more simpler than that for me. It really doesn't, because people talk about oh, you got to be patient, you got to give it time. We don't want another KDB, we don't want another Salah. Do you know who's not going to get to see the fruits of their labor is the manager. He'll be sacked before then, because he won't make it. You know, if you keep depending on inconsistent, unreliable players and hoping that they come good, and you do it with enough of them, well, then you don't make it to the potential if they ever even get to that, because it's too many. You know, one thing that people forget when they talk about Salah and they talk about Kevin De Bruyne, they were put into teams that were also having your David Silvas, also having your Agueros. You know, Liverpool, they took a very informed Sadio Mane from Southampton. You don't build a team of inconsistent young players and then just pray that they get better. And if they don't, then you end up 7th. And if they do, then you might make top 4 in the future.
And Matisse, KDB and Salah were part of Chelsea when Chelsea's team was elite, with full of ballers. There was Mata, there was Oscar, there was Hazard. Like, it wasn't going to be easy for these guys to make that. Like, that's not the same case now. Do you know what I mean? It should be easy for players like Kai Havertz to shine in this team. This is not a difficult team to shine on. Do you know what I mean? So this is the thing, man. Like, it's not the same thing. We shouldn't be just scared. And how long is long enough, man? Like, this is Kai Havertz's 3rd season. How many managers has Kai seen, Matisse? At Chelsea?
He's had Lampard, Tuchel, and Potter, isn't it?
He's at the age of 22 or whatever. He's already seen three managers at Chelsea.
And by the way, I'm not saying that helps. It doesn't help to have different systems, to have different managers. It doesn't help. Maybe if he had gone to Man City and he just had Pep, maybe he would be a superstar by now. But these are the cards that he was dealt, unfortunately. You know, this is Chelsea Football Club. When you sign for Chelsea Football Club, you have to be able to perform amongst the chaos, because that's what we are consumed in. You know, if you're coming here expecting to see, you know, stability under the former regime, then you didn't do your homework on us. And that's why you need the right characters, and you need the right mentalities, and you need the players that have the strength physically and mentally. And they don't look at the Dan Burns and think, oh, it's a physical centre-back. Never seen that before in the Bundesliga. That took me by surprise. You know, when I heard Timo Werner say that, I said, what do you think you signed up for, big man?
Yeah.
You came to the Premier League and you're shocked. You're like, wow, this guy's really... You're like, wow, these centre-backs, like, who are these players' advisors? Who are these players' agents? Surely it's not just about ones and zeros. How can a striker be coming over to this league and not expecting a fight and doesn't understand that Dan Burn exists? Yes, it's going to be like that. Go and watch Ryan Shawcross at Stoke way back when. Like, yeah, you're coming over here and it's going to be more physical, because, you know, some players, I think they get that when they come here, and they might change the tempo and the speed of their game. And this is where I'm afraid I'm going to draw for your Habibi.
Yeah.
Anthony comes from Ajax. He's younger. He's quicker. He's electric. He plays at intensity. He's got a bit of shithouse about him. Anthony at Man United looks like he knows he's coming to the Premier League. He looks like he knows he's coming for the fight. He's coming for the physicality. He knows that it's going to be a war. Ziyech comes over here. He just plays like he plays in Holland. You can't play how you play in Eredivisie, my friend. It's not going to work. This is not Eredivisie. This is Premier League. You have to change your mindset. You have to change you have to make sure your playing style is a little bit more intense on and off the ball. But I think these players, they come here and they think they could just play however they want, and they get found out very quickly that that's not how it works. You have to adapt to the league. The league's not adapting to you. Bernardo Silva he's so small, but he plays like this constantly. He always covers the most yards on that pitch. So when people talk
physical as well, bro.
Yes,
he's
when people undermine work rate and they undermine pressing and they undermine intensity, those are not things to undermine. Kevin De Bruyne is one of the best engines you will see in Premier League history from midfield. But he has the quality to go with it. And I think some of these players would play a lot better I think the best performances I've seen from Kai, I've seen from Ziyech, have been when they know they're in a fight. Like Tottenham. Why is it that against Tottenham, these guys always seem to play well? Because they know it's war. So then when they play well off the ball and they move intensity, when they get the ball, you're not going to slow down. Like, you're not going to just like, you're not going to win the tackle, get the crowd up, and then slow the whole game down. You're going to keep playing quick. And then suddenly now, Ziyech, right wing back for Tuchel, in that spell where we beat them 3 times in the space of a month, Ziyech was very good at right wing back. Kai, earlier on in the season, I know he didn't score, but we played them at home in that draw where we should have won. Kai was good because they're playing like Premier League players. They're playing with a Premier League mindset. But the problem is with them is that it's inconsistent because they take that Premier League mindset for Tottenham and then they take it and they put it in the bin when they play against Brentford or they play against Brighton. And what they don't understand is that you need to have that Premier League mindset every single game. And this is why Younes' point earlier about training is very important.
I was just going to get to that.
This is where the whole
thing comes back to training.
Come full circle. And this is where we're going to leave you. This is why training, and this is why Potter is looking at training, and all these managers have looked at training, and they've all picked Mason over these guys consistently because these guys don't seem to understand that in training, you need to turn up week in, week out, day in, day out, because the Premier League is game in, game out. You can't slack in training in the Premier League and come to the match and perform unless you're Hazard. But these players don't have the ability of Hazard. In the Eredivisie, I can bet you Ziyech or whoever, or Kai in the Bundesliga, they could go in training, have a little 5 out of 10 training session and go home and turn up in the Bundesliga because there's space and it's a different league. And you can't do that in the Prem. You have to be on it all the time. Every single match, every single day, every training session, you have to be on it. If you're not on it, you're finished. Simple.
This is exactly what I was going to say when you were saying all of that is it all culminates from training. It all culminates from training. Surely our training must not be physical enough. It must not be. It must not be. It must not be intense enough. I remember watching Rio Ferdinand's Vibe with Five, one of these episodes where Rio talks about the great Man United team that he was part of. He was saying the training at times was even more intense than the game itself during the weekend. Rio would be saying the training would actually shock the players. The training would actually get players rattled as opposed to the game itself. Because by the time game came around, they're like, wow, this is a walk in the park. Like, our training sessions are a lot more intense. This is the thing. I think it all starts from the training. Our players, this is why I alluded to the fact that I wish we got an opportunity on a regular basis to see live training sessions. What are these players up to? It all culminates from that. If you train hard enough, if the intensity is...
But you have to want it, bro.
You got to want it from the training.
And some of these players that we have in our club, I'm afraid they don't want it. They don't really want it like that.
They don't want it, bro.
When you look at Almiron and Bruno Guimaraes is saying, bro, give him player of the month. Don't give it to me. He wants it. He's living his dream. Yeah. He really wants this. He's playing like he wants it. I look at our players. They don't play like they want it. They play like they're getting paid regardless. We might have a good game. We might not. It doesn't matter. They don't want it. There's something inside them that they don't have the drive. And that's why every time we sign a player, I always ask, where's the motivation coming from? What is your motivation for coming here? Do you want to win trophies that you've never won before? Because I would rather sign a bunch of players, that have not won anything. Because they'll have the motivation. They should have the motivation to come here and pick up some trophies. It's why I ask, why did Aubameyang want to come here from Barcelona? What did you really come here for? Because you're not winning the Premier League. So what did you come here for? I have to ask. Because if you don't know what your inner, it's the same with anything, bro. We're on this platform producing content because we want to get 20k and then 30k and then and we want the plaque and we want the people to enjoy the content. And I want to see the comments and people said that was a great stream. Or I want to see the message in DMs and people say, you made my day. I was having a shit day and this was a great show. Really, thank you for that's why I'm waking up. That's why I'm giving you the content. That's why I'm giving you energy. But that's what my motivation is for giving you 2 pieces of content a day and then going and streaming and then going to bed and my girl's already sleeping because I was doing Big Six until 12 o'clock and I didn't see her all day. That's my motivation to work hard. It works in every. But if you don't have any motivation, if you don't have any goals, any milestones, what are you what is Ziyech and what is Kai Havertz's milestone? Do they want the Ballon d'Or? Do they want to win Champions? What is it?
Yeah, what drives you? What drives you? Look at Trossard at Brighton. You can tell this guy is driven, man. He wanted to make that Belgium team.
Yeah.
He is now gunning for that top team. He knows the entire Premier League is looking at Leandro Trossard week in, week out. The guy has drive. He wants everyone to look at him. He's going to get a big move soon. He will get a big move. Whether it's Chelsea, I don't know. But he will get a move soon.
Yeah. And so, this comment here, I mean, listen, Hazard is a generational talent. And I keep saying there's these generations
was like this as well. Tevez was like
the top players like this, some of them, I mean, if Hazard had actually trained, he might have won a Ballon d'Or. Maybe. I mean, he had a bad moment because he was in the same era as a Messi and a Ronaldo. Maybe if Hazard had trained harder, maybe he wouldn't be as injury prone as he is now. I don't know. Maybe it's from taking too many tackles. It's probably that in the Premier League, the amount of hits he took. The point is that don't compare generational players to players that are just very good or good. Because like I said to you, Hazard, you put him in the Palace team, you can see the difference. You put Havertz in the Palace team right now, you can't. So what do they always say? If you don't have as much ability, you need to work harder. That applies. If you don't have natural, unspoken ability where you are just born, you're just that good, you're that guy. If you don't have that from birth, then you got to work. And best believe Hazard worked when he was younger anyway. But the point is that he's just different. He's just special. If you're not special, then you have to work harder to be special. And that is directly seen with the two GOATs of the last 2 decades. Messi, freak. Ronaldo worked. He had to work. I'm not saying Messi didn't train, but you damn right know that Ronaldo had to do a lot more training-wise to get to Messi's level, to be in that conversation. Because
Ronaldo's not naturally gifted like Messi.
Yeah, because we saw it. We saw it from Messi's debut when Ronaldinho assisted him. You knew he was a star. Period. End of conversation. He's a freak. He was born with that. Same with any sport. You know, you have athletics. Some people are just born with the genetics. They're just that quick. They're just that good. Ronaldo, we saw him at Man United in his first season, you know, at Manchester United with Sir Alex Ferguson. He was skillful, but he wasn't the best player on the team. Rooney was. Rooney was better than Ronaldo. But Ronaldo worked. And then he got to that level. So my point is that if you're not special, which our players aren't, you have to work. And if you don't work, then you're really not special. Now you're really just average. And hence why average performances against mid-table teams will happen. Because it's who's working harder. Simple.
Spot on, bro. Spot on.
So, listen, guys. For me, all I wish for this Newcastle game is that we show a little bit of bollocks, to be honest, because it's just been insane to watch that Arsenal match and then watch that City game and think, how can we get 2 polar opposite performances like that? Obviously, we rotated heavily, but it's just a bit mad. So I don't know what the team's going to be. I hope I don't see the same faces we always see, but hopefully as well, we just see a good performance and be competitive. And the fact that we're saying that against a Newcastle team that's not glittered with stars, it just goes to show that they're just working hard. They got their system. Everyone's pulling in the right direction. There's nobody that's unsettled behind the scenes that is of importance. Everybody's just got the same focus, the same drive, and that's it. Similar to us when we were under Conte last time we won the title. 1 game a week. One single mindset, one goal, winning the league. That's it. No contract confusion, no futures up in the air. You know, Diego Costa wasn't looking at, different clubs in China. Everybody was just focused. We're going to win the league and that's it. We're just going to this is it. This is our formation. This is how we play. We're going to win the league. Everybody just shut up and pay attention. Here we go. And that's it. Right now, there's no way that focus exists. Because Is top four really that deep? Again, like I said, you know, is it really that much of a motivation for these guys? They're in top four every year anyway. Probably not. That's not enough. So some of them are not staying. These are the things that count. Miz, let them know where to find you, bro. Pleasure as always.
Yeah, man. Really, really good show once again. Yeah, the other side of the coin, very close to 18,000 now. I think 40 subscribers away. So if you enjoy the discussion that we had here and you enjoy what we talked about and you want to see a little bit more of me, come to the other side of the coin. I did do a live just before this. Do check that out. That was about Endrick. And later on tonight, I'll probably do the Newcastle preview. And yeah, that's pretty much it, let's say.
There you go. What's harder to fix, bad attack or bad defense? Also, Potter has disappointed me with his selection of formation. I thought he would have been brave considering he has a 7-year contract. I think at times I sympathize with his team selection because I think his hands have been tied with injuries and like, you know, you have to play maybe a certain formation because you have certain players missing. But then like certain games, I agree with you. I think he has been just not brave enough. And that is strange considering he's here for the long term. So I agree. But one thing I will say about the attack and the defense, I think it's a team and everything is linked. If there's certain things missing in midfield, the attack will be bad. If the attack is not firing in terms of being clinical, then it will make the defense look worse because if you make one individual error and concede one goal, suddenly the defense looks bad because the attack didn't do its job and we didn't win 4-1, which happens at Man City often. Cancelo will make a mistake, but it doesn't matter because they're already 3-0 up or they've won the game. So everything is tied to each other. It's a team at the end of the day. There's many issues in the team and all of that links up. You know, if the right back can't overlap and get forward and cross and give a threat, then the right winger's performance will drop off. We saw that last season with Saka. Tomiyasu was good defensively, but going forward, he wasn't that great. Now Ben White is better. Saka was good last year, but now, you know, he's really solidified himself. And then you see at Tottenham, you know, Emerson Royale is awful and there's no chance creation down there. So everything's linked, people. Everything's linked. But make sure you subscribe, smash up the likes if you enjoyed. Leave your comments down below. And yeah, make sure you like and subscribe. You know, a few content creators have been saying that, but in videos they really shouldn't. So, you know, I'll make sure I say it on this one. Absolutely diabolical.